Speaker, apart from medical bills, we don't think there should be any more money that should be given to the mother because primarily we are worried it could lead to exploitation. But furthermore, we argue that the mothers don't want this money and that all they care about is that the baby is taken care of well by someone else. So let's then go into a few points about it. He said two things. The first thing he said was that mothers need to be compensated right now. I'm confused because in the first world, in America and Britain, no teenage mother or single mother has ever said that she needs to be compensated with money by the person who actually does take the child. All they care about is that the baby that they part with is taken care of by the next parent, by the next family. That's what I'll show you very strongly in my speech. But secondly, even if there is such real duress that is felt by the mothers, we don't think as a result of the parting of ways with the baby, we don't think that policy does any really good. Because money can never make up for the pain of parting with your baby. It's a very emotional experience. And what that makes sense is you realize that the mother had the baby in the womb for 9 freaking months. And we don't think any sum of money will make her feel good about parting with the baby and not ever seeing him or her again for the next 20 to 30 years. But furthermore, we argue, Madam Speaker, that all the mother usually wants, in many cases, where they do feel very strong emotional attachment to the baby, is to have some abilities to see the baby once in a while. And that's what we do have right now in the status quo, open adoption schemes, which essentially allow for the birth mother, the biological parent, to still have some decision rights so that she can still be in touch with the baby for the next 10 to 20 years of that baby's life. You say that's what they really want, that's already been given to them in the status quo. Secondly, he talked about the illegal black market. I think that's a bulldogs of an argument because there is no such black market with regards to the trading babies in America. Why is that so? Because firstly, to give birth to a baby, you have to go to a hospital. And every hospital in the first world has an obligation to report every birth to the government. So there's no way you can then run away and then give a baby to someone else without the authorities trying to track you down and find out what happened to the baby. There's no such black market, it doesn't exist. It's a bulldog of my argument. So let's go into then 3 points of substantive. I'm going to talk about 2 things. I'm going to tell you what these mothers really want, and I'm going to talk to you about exploitation. So firstly, what do these mothers really want? What they want primarily, at least in the first world, right, is to have the babies well taken care of when eventually the baby does leave them and go into the hands of a new family. And we say that's exactly covered in the status quo. How does adoption really work? Adoption works, starting, you might want to look at me so you get an idea of what I'm saying, right? And how does it really works is that you get an agency that has to be firstly accredited and licensed by the government in hand. Like no one can just operate an agency and just take baby and give it to the next stranger they meet. They have to be accredited and this need to have proper social workers involved in the process. And what they do is that they help facilitate the meeting of the birth mother with potential families and potential adoptee parents. And we argue that the process is already enough checks and balances to ensure that the family that takes care of this new baby is someone that is well suited to take care of the baby. And that's what assures the biological parent very much so. And we think that's exactly what they want, that's what they need. And we think that helps them far better. But secondly, like what I alluded to earlier, what they also really want or more often on is the ability to see the baby where they do feel such strong attachments. And that's what open adoption schemes are all about. It's a scheme that just started or that just came to being over the past 30 years in the first world, which allows for the biological parents to still have some abilities to meet the baby even as after the baby has left the womb, has gone to the new family. And this means that she's still involved with the life of the baby. She's still involved with the grand process, except that maybe now she doesn't have to bear the financial burdens of being a baby, which is exactly why she had to give birth in the first place. And we are getting this is very good for her and good for the baby as well. It ensures that the baby still knows who actually gave birth to it. But yes, Ruben.
Now, while it's nice to assume that every mother cares for the welfare of the baby, but you can't basically say that they don't really care about having additional compensation. I mean, who wouldn't want that?
We think real, genuine mothers don't want compensation. I don't think my mother asked dad to pay her for giving birth to me. I'm sure your mom does the same thing. So we think that the status quo, Madam Speaker, is really fine and really deals with most of the concerns. But let's look secondly at what are the harms it could result. So the primary harm that could result from this policy is exploitation, an argument for which I have enough information. I just found the paper. We say that the risk that you could incur with this policy is that you could actually have mothers giving away baby as a result of the financial incentive, and not because she was really ready to part ways with the baby. What's important? Because like what Ruben already alluded to earlier, sometimes in many cases, of course not in all cases, but in some cases, the teenage mother or the single parent may be very desperate and has no means by which she can take care of the baby after she is born. She's worried about the situation that she can find herself in. And we would argue that then you could incur the risk of other people taking advantage of the situation, using money to get her to bend over backwards to agree to the parting of babies. This is important because this is a case that the woman would not have given up a baby if not for the financial incentive. Ruben is not talking about mothers who are already agreeing to part ways with babies, because if they're already agreeing to part ways with babies, then there's no reason for them to have money, right? But we're talking about mothers who would not have given out a child if not for that compensation, for that extra money they should have gotten. And we argue that the only reason why she would then give in to the request to adopt is because she's weak mentally at the point in time and she's very worried about her situation, and she just, in a moment of rashness, just agrees to do something that she will really sorely regret. We say this is exploitation because in many of these cases, if the woman had just waited long enough, she would have found a way to cope with the baby. For example, she may have eventually found relatives who were willing to help her out with the raising of the child. She may have found help from local charities and local government authorities who are willing to help her out. Or she may have found work, for example, in the case of unemployed people. So we argue that there are ways for her to help herself and that she didn't need to resort to giving up a baby. But the incentive of money makes her give into a decision that she may later regret, and the heartache that she'll feel later, the regret she'll feel later, is something that will haunt her for the rest of her life. This is called exploitation. We can't stand for that. So ultimately, Madam Speaker, I've shown to you there's no need for this policy. It doesn't exist, and there's no problem. But ultimately, we argue, Madam Speaker, the statement is fine, and we think all we'll do is risk exploitation. We beg to oppose.